Before time learned to count itself, before years acquired weight and memory, the world existed in a state of effortless becoming. The heavens arched low and benevolent over the earth, and the earth, still young and unscarred, breathed freely beneath the sky. Rivers ran without banks, fields knew no boundary stones, and the wind carried neither warning nor threat. This was the first dawn of humankind, an age later remembered not by calendars or monuments, but by longing. Those who came after would call it the Age of Gold, not because gold was mined or hoarded, but because everything within it shone with a natural perfection that no metal could imitate. In that beginning, the gods themselves were close. Not distant powers veiled by ritual and fear, but presences felt in the rhythm of the seasons and the warmth of the sun upon bare skin. The ruler of this age was Cronus, lord of time in its gentlest form before time became a devourer. Under his reign, the world moved slowly, generously, without urgency. Nothing pressed forward toward decay. Nothing hurried toward an end. Humanity was born into this harmony, not as conqueror nor as servant, but as kin to the world itself. The first people did not struggle into existence. They emerged as naturally as leaves unfurling from a branch. They did not measure their lives because life itself seemed immeasurable. Days passed without division, and nights brought rest without fear. Sleep came softly, and waking felt like a continuation rather than a beginning. The people of the Golden Age were not defined by laws, for they had no need of them. Justice lived within them as instinct, not obligation. There were no judges because there were no crimes, no oaths because there was no deceit. Speech itself had not yet learned how to wound. Words were tools of sharing, not of dominance, and silence was never heavy with suspicion. They did not age as later generations would understand aging. Childhood was brief, not because it was hurried, but because maturity came without struggle. Adulthood did not bring the slow collapse of the body or the creeping dimming of the spirit. Strength and beauty remained steady companions, unthreatened by time. When death arrived, and it did, though gently, it came as a release rather than a theft. A man or woman would lie down as if for sleep and simply not rise again. There was no agony, no fear of the unknown. Death was a soft closing of the eyes, not a door slammed shut. The earth itself was an accomplice to this peace. Fields bore grain without plowing. Orchards bent beneath the weight of fruit without pruning. Rivers offered fish freely, and animals lived without the terror of the hunt. There was no concept of ownership, for abundance made possession meaningless. One did not take more than needed, not from moral restraint, but because excess held no appeal. Labor, as later ages would curse it, did not exist. There was activity, movement, creation, play, but no toil. Hands shaped objects for beauty or pleasure, not necessity. Shelters were built where shade or rain demanded them, not where fear required walls. Fire warmed and illuminated, but it was not a barrier against hostile nights. Conflict had no soil in which to take root. The golden people did not compare themselves to one another, for comparison implies lack, and lack was unknown. Strength was admired without envy, wisdom respected without resentment. Even differences carried no hierarchy. There was no ruler among humans, because there was no need to command or obey. The gods watched, but they did not interfere. Divine presence was reassurance rather than correction. The distance between mortal and immortal had not yet widened into awe or dread. Sacrifice was unknown, not because the gods were neglected, but because gratitude did not require ritual. The world itself was a continuous offering. This was an age without history. Memory existed, but it was not preserved because nothing needed preserving. Stories were told for delight, not warning. No one recorded the past because the present was sufficient and the future held no threat. Yet even in this perfection, change waited quietly, not as a force of malice, but as an inevitability written into existence itself. For harmony, when unchallenged, becomes fragile without knowing it. The end of the Golden Age did not come as fire from the sky or flood from the deep. There was no single moment when joy collapsed into despair. Instead, it faded as light fades at dusk, almost unnoticed until it is gone. When Cronus fell and Zeus rose to power, the rhythm of the world shifted. Time began to move forward instead of circling gently around itself. The gods withdrew, not entirely, but enough that their absence could be felt. Seasons learned to sharpen their edges. Summer remained generous, but winter arrived with cold rather than coolness. The earth still gave, but it began to ask in return. The golden people did not rebel against this change. They did not understand rebellion. They simply found themselves less at ease within the world that had once been effortless. Their descendants would inherit a world slightly heavier, slightly less forgiving. As the last of the golden generation passed away, they did not vanish into nothingness. In later memory, it was said that they became guardians, spirits moving unseen through the world, watching over mortals who no longer remembered them clearly. Whether this was truth or consolation mattered little. What endured was the sense that something precious had been lost, even if no one alive could say exactly when. The Golden Age did not survive as history, but as yearning. Long after its people were gone, its image shaped how later generations judged themselves. Every hardship was measured against the memory of effortless abundance. Every injustice was a reminder that justice had once required no enforcement. Every fear carried the echo of a time when fear did not exist. It was this contrast that gave the myth its power. The Golden Age was not merely a beginning. It was a standard. It represented humanity not as it was, but as it might have been, and perhaps as it once truly was, before desire learned to exceed need. Yet the story does not end in gold. For perfection, once lost, does not return unchanged. The world moved forward, and humanity with it, into an age where innocence dimmed and learning began. Not through wisdom freely given, but through suffering earned. Thus, as the warmth of gold cooled into a paler light, the Silver Age began to dawn, carrying with it the first fractures in the human soul. When the Age of Gold passed from the world, it did not vanish abruptly, nor did it leave behind an empty silence. Its departure was subtle, like warmth lingering in stone after the sun has set. The world still remembered harmony, but it no longer embodied it. Into this altered landscape stepped a new generation of humankind, born not into perfection, but into transition. This was the Age of Silver, an age shaped by hesitation, imbalance, and the first uneasy awareness that life was no longer effortless. The heavens were higher now, the gods more distant. Zeus ruled in place of Cronus, and though his reign was just, it was also firmer, defined by order rather than indulgence. The universe itself had matured, and humanity was expected to mature with it. Yet the Silver people were ill-suited to this expectation, caught between a memory of abundance and a future that demanded endurance. The people of the Silver Age were marked first and foremost by their strange relationship with time. Childhood stretched on unnaturally long, as though the world itself hesitated to force them into adulthood. For decades upon decades, they remained sheltered, dependent, bound closely to their mothers and homes. Their bodies grew, but their spirits lagged behind, reluctant to face the demands of a changing world. This prolonged youth was not a gift, but a flaw. While they lingered in innocence, the world around them required adaptation. Seasons now carried extremes. Winter brought cold that bit rather than cooled, and summer burned instead of merely warming. The earth, no longer endlessly generous, demanded cultivation. Seeds had to be planted, fields cleared, cycles understood. Humanity could no longer drift passively through existence. When the Silver People finally emerged from childhood into maturity, they did so clumsily. Their adult lives were brief and troubled, compressed beneath the weight of years wasted in unprepared innocence. Where the Golden People had flowed naturally into wisdom, the Silver People stumbled into responsibility with resentment rather than acceptance. For the first time, work became a defining feature of human life. Fields required tending, shelters needed reinforcing, and survival depended upon foresight. Tools were fashioned not for pleasure, but for necessity. The rhythms of life were dictated by seasons rather than desire. With labor came comparison. Some were stronger, others weaker. Some adapted quickly, others resisted change. Inequality, once meaningless, began to matter. Where abundance had erased the need for ownership, scarcity introduced it. Boundaries were drawn, first loosely, then with increasing insistence. This land was mine, that harvest yours. The Silver Age did not invent cruelty, but it discovered neglect. People began to look away from one another's suffering, not out of malice, but out of preoccupation with their own survival. Compassion still existed, but it was no longer instinctive. It required effort. Most telling of all was the Silver People's relationship with the divine. Unlike their golden predecessors, they did not feel the gods as constant companions. The divine presence was something external now, powerful, awe-inspiring, and increasingly distant. Rather than responding with reverence, the Silver People grew indifferent. They neglected the gods not through defiance, but through distraction and ingratitude. Sacrifice became irregular, prayers perfunctory. The rituals meant to acknowledge divine order were treated as burdens rather than privileges. This neglect carried consequences. Zeus, who ruled with a sense of cosmic justice, saw in the Silver People a failure not of strength, but of respect. They were capable of understanding order, yet chose convenience over reverence. Their greatest flaw was not violence, but arrogance born of immaturity. Adulthood in the Silver Age was harsh and fleeting. Having spent so long shielded from hardship, the people were ill-equipped to endure it when it arrived. Their bodies aged quickly once maturity was reached. Strength failed early. Illness lingered longer. The promise of life felt like a betrayal rather than a gift. Social bonds weakened. Families fractured under pressure. Parents and children no longer shared seamless understanding. Generations began to judge one another. The elders, once revered, became burdens. The young, once cherished, became sources of anxiety. Though the Silver People were not warlike, they were argumentative. Disputes over land, labor, and honor became common. Words, once gentle, learned to wound. Trust thinned. Suspicion crept into daily life. The end of the Silver Age was not marked by heroic tragedy or glorious catastrophe. It ended quietly, decisively, as though the world itself exhaled and moved on. Zeus withdrew his favor. The Silver People were not struck down in a single moment, but removed from the future. Their generation dwindled, swallowed by the earth that no longer recognized them as its favored children. Some myths would later say they became spirits beneath the ground, lesser guardians bound to the soil rather than the sky. What mattered was not their fate, but their failure. They had been given time to adapt and had wasted it. They had been shown the necessity of reverence and had dismissed it. Their downfall was not dramatic, but inevitable. The Age of Silver stands as a warning more than a tragedy. It represents humanity's first misstep, the moment when innocence became liability, when comfort bred complacency. It was an age of potential squandered, of growth delayed until growth became painful. Where the Golden Age was lost through cosmic change, the Silver Age was lost through human refusal to change. Its people were neither wholly evil nor wholly virtuous. They were simply unprepared, caught between what had been and what was required. As their era faded, the world hardened further. The lessons of the Silver Age did not soften humanity, they sharpened it. The next generation would not linger in childhood. They would be forged quickly, violently, into something altogether different. Thus, as gentleness gave way to strength and hesitation to aggression, the world entered the Age of Bronze, where humanity would no longer fail through neglect, but through excess. From the quiet fall of the Silver Age, a new generation of humankind emerged, stronger, harder, and more relentless. The earth had learned to demand, the gods had learned to judge, and now humanity would learn to fight. This was the Age of Bronze, a time where the ease of gold and the hesitation of silver were replaced by iron will, bronze armor, and the first taste of mortal struggle on a grand scale. The Bronze people were born into a world already tempered by necessity. The earth no longer provided freely. Seasons bore sharp edges, and survival depended on skill, strength, and courage. Unlike their predecessors, these humans could not linger in childhood. They grew swiftly, their bodies honed by the demands of life itself, their minds sharpened by the knowledge that weakness would not endure. Hesiod had said, and the tales remembered, that these humans seemed forged of bronze itself, strong, cold, and shining in their resolve. Their homes were sturdy, their armor unyielding. They spoke less of gentleness and more of deeds. They did not seek to harm for pleasure, but neither did they shrink from conflict. The world had become a proving ground, and they were its willing gladiators. In their veins ran the first recognition of mortality, not as a gentle sleep, but as a final reckoning. They no longer lingered in the innocence of youth or the false security of comfort. They faced the world as it was, harsh, unrelenting, and impartial. This awareness sharpened their senses, but it also hardened their hearts. Compassion still existed, but it was tempered with pragmatism. Friendship became loyalty, loyalty became allegiance, and allegiance could be tested only in struggle. The Age of Bronze is remembered most vividly for its embrace of war and valor. These humans did not yet seek to destroy, but they were irresistibly drawn to the glory of combat. The clash of weapons was a language they understood, the forging of arms a sacred rite. Their lives were measured in victories and defeats, their worth in courage displayed under sun and rain, against friend or foe alike. It was in this age that humanity first understood the full weight of violence. The Bronze people fought not for conquest alone, but for survival, for honor, and for recognition. Cities rose and fell under their hands, and legends were born in the echoes of battle cries. They revered Ares, god of war, not merely as a deity, but as the embodiment of the force that had become their constant companion. Despite their strength, the Bronze people were not immortal. They tasted victory, but also the bitterness of loss. Siblings fell to the sword, friends betrayed in the heat of strife, families shattered by the unyielding demands of life. Death was no longer gentle, but neither was it feared. They met it with courage as a natural conclusion of existence. The Bronze Age marked the irrevocable departure from any memory of paradise. Where gold had known abundance without effort and silver had hesitated in its innocence, bronze wrestled openly with necessity and mortality. These people were shaped by their trials. Their hands were calloused, their spirits unyielding, their hearts steeled. Yet this strength carried a cost. The simple joys of earlier generations were nearly forgotten. Laughter existed, but it was sharper, tinged with irony and the understanding of danger. Peace existed, but it was fleeting, fragile, and guarded by vigilance. The gods watched, sometimes in admiration, sometimes in detachment. They did not provide as they had for the golden or silver generations. Humans were left largely to their own devices, tested and tempered by the world's inherent hardness. Some stories whisper that the Bronze people sought the gods' favor through ritual and sacrifice. But these were acts of formality more than instinctive piety. Humanity's relationship with divinity had matured into one of respect, tempered by self-reliance. Eventually, the age of warriors also began to wane. The bronze people, strong as they were, could not endure forever. Their own might became their undoing. Foes multiplied, conflicts escalated, and the Earth's resources, though resilient, began to strain under the ceaseless demands of survival and combat. Many of the tales recount that the Bronze generation was consumed by its own hand. Wars, relentless and unending, swept through their cities. Strength turned against itself. Families and communities were torn apart in the ceaseless pursuit of glory and survival. Those who survived found themselves diminished, scattered, and weary. The world, tempered by strife, awaited yet another transformation. Some legends tell of a brief interlude, the heroic age, a fleeting moment of valor and honor, surpassing even the bronze people. Heroes arose, demigods born to inspire and to fight in legendary wars. They acted as intermediaries between gods and men, yet even they could not halt the inevitable decline. Their stories would endure in song, myth, and memory, but the era itself faded. The Bronze Age's mark upon the earth was permanent. Humanity had learned to struggle, to endure, to wield its own strength and confront mortality directly. They discovered courage, fortitude, and the profound cost of power. Yet they also discovered the shadow that follows all strength. The ease of innocence could never return. The world's gentleness had been forever eclipsed by the weight of necessity. Where the Golden Age had been light and the Silver Age a dim reflection of that light, the Bronze Age was shadowed, yet not without purpose. It prepared the world and its people for the next inevitable descent, the Iron Age, when hardship, sorrow, and the deepest human failings would rise to the surface, shaping life into forms both familiar and unyielding. Humanity stood at the edge of a world that demanded everything, and in that crucible, it would learn the harshest lesson yet, that survival without virtue, courage without wisdom, and strength without restraint would bring no lasting peace. The Age of Bronze, resplendent and violent, was a mirror of the world's new truth. To live fully, humans must wrestle with the very fabric of existence, and even then, their victories are only fleeting. The Bronze Age, with all its strength and glory, faded like the last embers of a dying fire. From its twilight emerged a world both familiar and alien, where struggle had become the essence of life, and innocence was but a distant memory. This was the Age of Iron, the present age according to myth, and it was an age unlike any before it, harsh, unyielding, and relentless in its trials. From the first breath, humans of this age were marked by toil. Life was no longer a gentle unfolding, nor even a testing forge like that of the Bronze. Now, existence itself seemed heavy, burdened with labor, sorrow, and ceaseless demands. The earth, once generous, now required sacrifice for every morsel. Fields were tilled under sweat and sun, and even the most bountiful harvests demanded planning, endurance, and vigilance. The people of the Iron Age were born knowing hardship. Strength alone could not guarantee survival. Cunning, endurance, and sometimes cruelty became necessary tools. From infancy, they were exposed to the world's sharp edges. Childhood was no longer long and sheltered as in the Silver Age. It was brief, cruel, and instructive. The tender joys of play existed only fleetingly, often shadowed by hunger, fear, or conflict. Iron people aged quickly, not just in body, but in spirit. Their eyes carried the weight of worry, their hands the calluses of relentless labor, their hearts the unease of constant vigilance. Families, once secure units of love and guidance, now lived under tension and strain. Generations argued rather than respected. Parents feared children, and children resented parents. Trust was fragile. alliances temporary, and friendships tested constantly. Unlike their bronze predecessors, the Iron People were not warriors by nature alone. They were survivors by necessity. The joy of combat, if it existed, was tempered by exhaustion and fear. Every day demanded choice, strategy, and cunning. Suffering was universal, injustice and cruelty commonplace. Villages and cities rose and fell, often at the hands of their own people. Civilization existed as a precarious balance of ambition and restraint, never absolute, always fragile. The Iron Age was also marked by moral decay. Greed, envy, and deceit were woven into the fabric of human life. Justice, once instinctive in the Golden Age, had to be learned and enforced. Honesty was a rarity, mercy a luxury. Children were quick to quarrel, elders quick to anger, and neighbors suspicious of neighbors. The gods, though still present, seemed indifferent, their favors capricious, their wrath sudden and devastating. Death in the Iron Age was relentless, inescapable, and often cruel. The Golden Age had passed peacefully. The Silver, with its delayed maturity, had faded gradually. Bronze had been violent but valorous, tempered by honor and courage. Iron left none of these comforts. The sickly, the weak, the unwise, all fell prey to disease, misfortune, or violence. Even those who endured bore the weight of memory and grief. Mortality shaped every action. Life became a chain of choices, each carrying consequence. Every effort to achieve comfort or prosperity required vigilance. Every failure brought suffering. Humans were defined by the struggle itself, their character forged in relentless hardship. There was no respite, no effortless harmony, and no divine protection that could be relied upon. The natural world mirrored humanity's hardness. Seasons no longer danced with abundance. They demanded preparation and endurance. Rivers and forests were tamed or feared. Predators were threats, storms punishments, and the fertile soil offered sustenance only to those who could wrest it from the earth. Nature itself seemed indifferent, a reflection of the divine distance. Communities became tightly bound, yet fragile. Towns required fortification, alliances required negotiation, and survival required cunning. Hospitality, a sacred trust in previous ages, became conditional, weighed against risk. Love, friendship, and loyalty existed, but they were rare and tested by every hardship. Amid hardship, the Iron Age also revealed human resilience. Where the Golden and Silver Ages had relied on abundance and ease, and the Bronze on strength and valor, the Iron People relied on persistence. Endurance became virtue, cunning became wisdom. Survival itself was a testament to ingenuity. But the cost was high. Joy was fleeting, innocence rare, and virtue often overshadowed by necessity. The myths say that Zeus, seeing the human condition, was patient but watchful. He allowed the Iron People to endure not for reward, but as a test. Humanity's morality, once instinctive, now required effort. Every act of honesty, kindness, or courage became an achievement, a defiance against the natural decline of the world. The Iron Age endures as a caution and a reflection. It is a mirror showing humanity the consequences of lost innocence and the passage of time. It is harsh, but it teaches the value of endurance. It is sorrowful, but it teaches the weight of choices. It is imperfect, but it shows the profound potential of the human spirit to act with courage, compassion, and resilience, even in the absence of divine favor or effortless prosperity. In the grand arc of myth, the Iron Age is not merely a time of despair. It is the canvas upon which all subsequent generations must paint their story. Where gold shone and silver hesitated, where bronze fought, iron perseveres. Humanity, now tempered by hardship, bears the wisdom of all ages, that every struggle, every loss, and every fleeting triumph is part of the long journey from paradise toward understanding. Though the Iron Age is dark and heavy, it is not devoid of light. Courage, love, and fleeting happiness endure. Legends tell that those who live with integrity and wisdom in this age are rare and treasured, carrying within them the echoes of the Golden and Silver Ages, the bravery of Bronze, and the potential to shape the future, even amid iron and sorrow. From here, the story continues, for the ages of man are not only chronicles of decline, but also reminders that within struggle lies the chance for heroism, remembrance, and the enduring spark of humanity itself. The story of the ages of man does not end with the Iron Age, for the myth itself stretches beyond the confines of any single generation. It is a narrative both temporal and moral, mapping not only the passage of time, but also the evolution of human character, the tension between virtue and folly, and the ceaseless longing for something lost. The Golden, Silver, Bronze, and Iron Ages, while distinct, are part of an unbroken chain, each generation a mirror and a shadow of the last, each era carrying lessons, warnings, and echoes that resound far beyond the land of the Greeks. The ages, as the myths preserve, are not simply sequential markers of time, they are expressions of human potential and limitation. The Golden Age, untroubled and ideal, represents what humanity might have been at its purest. The Silver Age is the first stumble, an age of misaligned gifts and incomplete maturity. Bronze introduces the harshness of action, the necessity of struggle, and the glory and danger of might. Iron is the culmination of this trajectory, a time when virtue must be chosen, not inherited, and when survival itself tests the spirit at every turn. This descending pattern is neither accidental nor cruel. It is a meditation on mortality, imperfection, and the consequences of forgetting the past. The myth insists that all human ages are bounded, shaped by both divine will and human choice, and that the virtues of one age may not survive into the next unless consciously preserved. Even as humanity endured the Iron Age, the memory of the Golden Age persisted. The stories recall it in detail: endless summer, abundance without effort, sleep without fear, and a world without pain. Though these tales may seem unreachable, they provide a moral compass. Every act of generosity, every moment of wisdom, every decision to honor the bonds between humans and gods recalls that pristine standard. In imagining the Golden Age, the myths teach that abundance and happiness are inseparable from virtue. The people of gold lived in harmony, not because the earth was kind or the gods indulgent alone, but because their hearts were aligned with the cosmic order. This is the lesson that carries forward, whispered through every succeeding age. Prosperity and grace require respect, reverence, and integrity, or they will vanish. The Silver Age continues to speak across time as a cautionary tale. It was not evil, yet it faltered. It was not unworthy, yet it failed. Its lesson is that potential alone is not enough. Even innocence must be guided, even comfort must be tempered with understanding. The Silver people remind future generations that neglect of duty, indifference to divine or moral law, and delay in learning the ways of the world carry consequences that cannot be undone. The narratives of Silver resonate not only within Greek imagination, but across cultures. Similar myths appear in the yugas of Hindu tradition, where the Satya Yuga corresponds to gold and the Treta Yuga to silver, each declining in virtue, strength, and longevity. In these parallels, the same moral pattern emerges. Ease untested leads to weakness, and delay in growth invites vulnerability. Bronze, unlike its predecessors, is not characterized by failure or innocence, but by action. The Bronze Age is a crucible in which humans are tested by labor, strife, and conflict. Its warriors embody courage and strength, yet they also reveal the dangers of pride and the perils of untempered force. Bronze is the age of first great deeds, legendary battles, and heroic sacrifice, but also of self-destruction, as the very qualities that bring glory can bring ruin. In this age, the myth introduces the notion that heroism is both temporary and exceptional. Mortals may rise above the ordinary, yet they remain vulnerable to the inexorable laws of fate, the whims of the gods, and the limitations of mortality. Bronze is the bridge between the innocence of youth and the hardship of adulthood, between paradise lost and the struggles that define the present. The Iron Age represents the world as most humans experience it, laborious, morally complex, and fraught with sorrow. Here, the gods are distant, and humanity must act largely on its own. Life is defined by hardship, but also by the choices that hardship demands. The Iron People, though surrounded by suffering, demonstrate endurance, ingenuity, and occasional flashes of virtue. Every act of courage or honesty is earned, every moral choice deliberate. The Iron Age is not merely despair. It is the stage where human character is forged most sharply. It reveals the paradox that struggle can cultivate wisdom and that virtue, though rare, shines more brightly when surrounded by adversity. The myths thus suggest that even amid decline, human potential persists, waiting to be realized through courage, perseverance, and moral clarity. Remarkably, the sequence of declining ages appears in many world traditions. Hindu yugas, Norse cycles of the world, and even ancient Mesopotamian and biblical visions echo this pattern. While details differ, names, numbers, and cosmological frameworks, the core idea endures. Humanity passes through stages of perfection, transition, strength, and struggle. These myths collectively express an intuitive understanding of time, morality, and the human condition. They remind societies that loss, decline, and challenge are natural parts of life. Yet within them lie opportunities for growth, heroism, and memory. The ages of man endure not because they recount historical fact, but because they capture the essence of human experience. They are living stories, repeated and reshaped across generations, teaching that the past shapes the present and that the present will shape the future. Through myth, humanity learns to remember, to measure itself against ideals, and to find purpose amid inevitable hardship. The narrative of the ages is thus a mirror, reflecting both what has been lost and what might yet be recovered. Golden harmony, silver caution, bronze courage, and iron endurance each illuminate different aspects of human nature. Together, they form a cycle, a rhythm that teaches as much about morality, responsibility, and resilience as it does about time or mortality. From the first dawn of the Golden Age to the ceaseless toil of iron, the story of humankind unfolds as a grand tapestry of virtue, failure, struggle, and resilience. The myths do not merely recount events. They offer a vision of life itself, in which each age is a lesson, each generation a chapter, and every human act a reflection of choices made long before. Though the Golden Age is forever gone, its light endures in memory and aspiration. Though the Silver Age faltered, it teaches the cost of inattention and delayed growth. Though bronze raged with might, it demonstrates the nobility and peril of courage. And though iron is harsh and unforgiving, it reveals the power of endurance, the value of wisdom earned, and the possibility that even in the darkest times, humanity can act with honor, compassion, and hope. Thus, the ages of man remain not as relics of the past, but as a living myth, a guide, a warning, and a mirror. They remind all who hear the story that the human journey is shaped by choice as much as by fate, that every generation carries within it the potential for greatness or folly, and that the spark of the Golden Age, though distant, may yet flicker in the hearts of those who endure and remember. The tale of humanity from dawn to dusk continues. The world moves, lives rise and fall, yet the story of the ages remains eternal, a testament to both the fragility and the enduring spirit of mankind.